Hello, everyone. Welcome to a really special beta webinar, which is being produced in partnership with the Children's Book Council of Australia. My name is Cassie Tung. I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager here at PETA. And I know I say this every time to all of our regular webinar attendees, but it is true every time. I am just so delighted to be spending the next 45 minutes or so with all of you. And I hope you're all keeping safe and well. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I live and work. That's the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay my respects to elders past and present. It always was and always will be Aboriginal land. This webinar is being recorded, and we ask that you keep your cameras off and your microphones on mute so we can focus on our amazing presenters, but we would still really love to hear from you. So please leave any questions, ideas, or suggestions in the chat box below. I know that together we can really get some creative juices flowing. Now, this is going to be a really good webinar. Our friends at the CBCA have helped me to find 3 brilliant teacher librarians. We've got Kate Moore from South Australia, we've got Marissa Caluzzi and Jo Panckridge, who are both from Victoria, who will be sharing short presentations on their best ideas for celebrating Book Week 2021, no matter where you are or how you're having to teach at the moment. The theme this year is Old Worlds, New Worlds, Other Worlds, which just seems so full of potential and very exciting. So what we'll do is we'll go through each of these wonderful presentations, and then we should have some time left over for questions and discussions and idea exchanges. So let's just dive in. I'm excited. I hope you are too. First up is Kate Moore. Welcome, Kate.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to share my screen with you, and we can get started. Here we go. So Book Week 2021, Old Worlds, New Worlds, Other Worlds. I wanted to start off with talking a little bit about Dress Up Day. I know that in the recent past, I should say, there has been a little bit of controversy around why we are dressing up, and has Book Week just turned up into one big dress up day instead of a focus on the books. So I really wanted to unpack a little bit about making it authentic and about how we can use some ideas to bring the theme and the shortlist into our dress up days. I know that that's not going to be for all of you this year, particularly with COVID and lockdown. So, you know, there could be ideas for coming years. So one of the ways that I've done in the past is I make it a project. So engage our older students. I really like to get them to design and create a mask. I like masks. A hat or a t-shirt to wear for the parade. Okay. So with the theme, what are some of the ways that we could unpack that? You could do Egyptian masks, obviously old worlds, alien masks, or creature features, which is where I like to have the students really look at different animals, and insects is amazing, really unpack some of their different features and mash them together to create their own alien. There could be masks from other cultures, like Japan has some beautiful masks that could be focused on graphics for t-shirts or hats. Particularly, I'm going to do this year hats for the Tea Party in Alice in Wonderland, and I'll explain how that makes sense in a little bit. You could use a theme as well. So you could get everyone to dress up in the school as ancient worlds. Each of your classes could take a different time period. They could take a different culture. You could focus on the future. So it's just putting some guidelines for students, and instead of just the whole dress up as your favorite book character, really make it work. In the past, I have seen instead of a parade, classes have turned it into a performance. So each class has done a 30-second to 1-minute little dance or art performance at an assembly instead of a parade, based around their culture or the country that they picked. If you were going to use something from like literature, if you want to focus on one of the classics, you could do like Other Worlds, 100% The Wizard of Oz, Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland. And of course, you could just get them to just say, you know, dress up from the shortlisted books or the notables. So Book Week and Science Week. This is what I really wanted to talk to you about today, because at my school, there has always been a lot of talk about how Science Week and Book Week are so close together, and that teachers feel as though they can't teach. So this year, what the coordinator of Science Week and I have done is we've really got together to try and create a cohesive mini unit that our staff can do for a week or two to focus on, to integrate both together and make it easy. So if you wanted to look at some books with some STEM in it, or these ones are about food, sorry. So the Science Week theme is food this year. And so we do have a few books that have a focus on food, Sometimes Cake, Your Birthday Was the Best, The Biscuit Maker, and 10 Little Figs. So you could look at some of those books during Science Week. If you want to look at something a little bit more STEM focused, there's a Zoo in My Poo, which is great. Kids love that one. The Anemone Is Not My Enemy. You're looking at ecosystems, the dangerous animals. Wilfred with the elevator. You could do something along the lines of ask your kids to design an elevator, create an elevator during Science Week. Again, with Sing Me the Summer, it's a focus on seasons, but also with this, just taking the front cover, it's got a swing in it. You can ask your little ones to design their own swings. And then Bin Chicken is a bit of a favorite of mine, I must admit, but that's really talking about animal adaptations. So it's a really good book to start off. So down the rabbit hole. When I was talking with the Science Week coordinator, we decided that Alice in Wonderland was a good way to do it, because Alice falls into another world, which is how we're linking it to the Book Week theme. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a whole school Mad Hatters tea party on our dress up days. So all of our staff have selected a character from from Alice in Wonderland that they're going to dress up as. And we're going to talk a little bit to the students about what's appropriate to wear, about how they can wear something from Alice in Wonderland or something from the shortlist. And then we're going to have a Mad Hatters tea party. So all of the tables are going to be pulled out. They're going to go down the centre of our undercover learning area, and all the classes are going to have a shared lunch. I'm also going to look for the Cheshire Cat. So I'm going to hide a little Cheshire Cat around the school, and our students can search for it at recess or lunch. This is obviously something you can do in the library as well. The reason why I've got a picture of a QR code down here is because if you do it in the library and you allow the students to use iPads during recess and lunch, you can use a QR code to take them to a small movie. It could be a book review, it could be a little preview, it could be like just a little movie like the minuscule movies from ABC. So it gives a little bit of an extra dimension to that treasure hunt. So what other bits are we going to do? We're going to do a decorate your door competition. We always do buddy class activities, which is based on the shortlist books. The door competition is also based on the shortlist books, although we are extending it to notable books this year. We're going to view Alice in Wonderland at recess and lunch. We're going to have our PE teacher is getting into it, and he's going to teach the kids how to play croquet. And we're going to do a business and economics mini unit and get some of our older students to do some food stalls during the week. This might be a bit hard for some of you again at the moment with lockdown, but we are going to connect. We try to connect the community and the shortlist. some ways that we do that is, I'll just go forward. Here we go. We have guest readers. Our principal loves to get a lot of politicians and people from the community to come in and read to the students. So throughout Book Week, we have a vast variety of people from the community come and read the shortlist and the notables to our students. This year, we're going to have author talks, except we're not going to have traditionally published authors. We're going to get our students to create their own books and then do their own mini author talks for small groups during recess and lunch. Just part of the treasure hunt thing. So you can use the covers of the books and pixelate them, or you can take a small piece, then you hide them around the library or the classroom and you ask the kids to name the book. And then they go into a competition and that's drawn during our assembly. I really tried to get some Book Week online stuff for those people who are stuck. So you can read online. I will just mention that the publishers have a story time agreement for 2021. So you are able to film yourself reading. Here is I'm not going to go through it, but schools must be in official lockdown, live streaming where possible, full recognition, and you have to, the publishers are advised of in writing of the stories that you're going to read. I have a link down here to this so you can have a closer look at it online, but you are able to read a lot of the stories to your students. I'll only mention this really briefly. I think I don't want to cross over with someone else, but if you have a look, check out the CPCA website. There are some YouTube links and some teachers' notes that you can use for all of the books. I did want to show you this. The illustrator, whose name is Mel, and I can't remember her, I can't see her last name here, of the Mummy Smugglers of Crumbling Castle, has created a YouTube video of her drawing Crumbling Castle so you can have your students draw along. So it's got the you need, and then it goes through the steps. If you're still doing online learning, this is something that's really simple that you could post to your students and get them to follow along. They can always add their own little bits and pieces at the end. When we get to the end, they've got the mode. They can add their own bits, whether they want a tree coming out of it, more bits coming off, whether they want a slide or flags or whatever they'd like to do, but they can follow along. And I did want to mention some websites that you could use. I don't know if any of you have seen Slido, but that's an online kind of quiz that you can do with your students. They can do it from different areas as long as they've got the link. And you can ask questions and get them to respond, and then they see the answers immediately as well, so they can see what is happening. Another really great website that you can use with your students is Padlet. If you don't know a lot about Padlet, I've just recently found a lot of new bits in the settings. So you can have, you can put up the Book Week book covers, you can do little thumbs up, thumbs down so the kids can like it, they can vote for their books online that way. You can allow comments, so they can make comments about what they've read. You can also put on as to whether you would like to view the comments before they're posted live, or there's a little tab that you can select and it says replace bad words with good emojis. So there's a way that you can have a lot of interaction with your students, and students can interact with each other using Padlet. Another great website to use is Canva, a little bit like PowerPoint. when you come to the presentation side of it. However, they also have a whole lot of social media. The reason why I suggest Canva over PowerPoint is that it's actually much easier to use, and they can download all of their work as a movie. So they can post short slideshows to you or their friends. You could get them to do it about the book as a book response for one of the shortlists.
And you're just coming up on time there, Kate. So if you just want to wrap up your slideshow, maybe with some really fast talking, that would be great.
Really fast. This is my last slide anyway. So old worlds, new worlds, my world. So if you are really stuck at home in lockdown, then you can, why not tweak the theme a little bit and get the students to talk about their own world. They can take a photo with an old toy and a new toy, and then a fantastic book that you can do from the notable list would be Who Am I by Philip Bunting. Very much talks about themselves. And I will stop sharing right there because that's the end of it for me. So thank you very much. And I'll pass back over to Cassie.
Thank you so much, Kate. That was a really great presentation. We're so lucky to have the three of you here with us today. I just want to do a really quick reminder to our amazing participants. Because we have a lot of you on today, there's a bit of background noise. We just really encourage you to keep yourselves on mute and your cameras off just so we can focus on the speakers. That would be fantastic. Let's move straight on. You don't need more of me. So let's turn right to our next speaker, who is Marissa Caluzzi. Over to you, Marissa.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Let me just get my screen up ready for you. Lovely to see so many names on the screen today. Here we go. So, but first of all, welcome. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm sharing today ways that I celebrate Book Week in my school. I'm a teacher librarian for a school that goes up to year 12, but my focus is early learning centre to year 6. The ideas that I'm sharing with you are things that may be able to be adapted to your setting. I'm using some photos in here. Some of them are from previous years. If there are students in them, I've tried to use ones where their faces are not shown. And you might even get to see a photo too of me. So what I first of all do well before Book Week, as soon as the notables are announced, I display all of the notables relevant to the age group of my students. And I create a Borrow Me bookmark and I display them all. So I want to get the books circulating. I want the students to get excited about the notable books. Let me just go to my next slide. Oops, sorry, I went too far. Oh, no, I didn't. Here we go. So I also promote the notables to the staff. So I get all the links I can find to do with all the notables and I put them up on my intranet with links, hyperlinks to all the teacher resources and other related resources. And so that's what you can see in this image here. And then I will do presentation to the staff as well, sharing these resources with them and the books as well. So I think it's really important to get the staff excited about the notables, to really showcase them. Go to my next page. And at staff meetings, I will often read each week a couple of the books from the notable list and really highlight them. So exploring and interpreting the theme, I like to do this with the students early as well. So we look at creating our own posters. What does the theme mean? We look at the artwork of the illustrator of the posters, which is Sean Tan this year. So I might display books related to, well, all of Sean Tan's books, for example, and also non-fiction books related to the theme. As we heard in the previous presentation, things to do with other worlds like space and explorers, microorganisms, they're quite popular at the moment. UFOs, habitats, all those kinds of things. So we're looking at non-fiction as well. Also displaying selections of historical fiction and science fiction as well, so linked into the theme there. You could also have a story writing kind of use the theme as a story writing inspiration or a prompt for older students as well. So then as we get closer to Book Week, when we start exploring the shortlisted books after the shortlist announcement, I then really hone in on these. And we already saw this page before, but you can get some great links. The CBCA website, when you click on the read more links, it will take you to any resources that might be available for that book, which is really useful. You also get to see the judges report and the publishers, a little bit of publisher information as well. So it's a really useful resource to go to when you're getting to know these books. So I then like to really explore the books with the students in the leading up to Book Week and expose all of my classes to all the books that are age appropriate for them. So we read, discuss, reflect and respond to all of them. And when we're on site, I create a booklet like you can see on the screen, but I've had to adapt that when we're off site as well, which I'll show you in a moment. And when we're off site too, there've been times when I haven't had access to the book. So Storybox Library has become a really excellent resource during off-site learning. So I'll come back to that. If you're a primary school teacher who has a class, you may be, so not a teacher librarian, you have your own class, you might read 1 or 2 of the shortlisted books a day, or one, you know, have a set time to make it a regular routine and then discuss and reflect and respond. So that's my booklet for another category. And then here is where I've adapted it for Seesaw. So I'm not sure if any of you have used Seesaw during, not just for off-site learning, you can use it obviously on-site as well, but Seesaw is a really fantastic platform that lends itself well to off-site learning. So I've had to adapt and be quick about my adaptations to get classes up. Sometimes from one day to the next, we go from on-site to off-site. So you have to be ready to go. So I've adapted, and here's an example here. And then once all the students have gotten to know all of the books, I want every student to have the opportunity to vote for their books. And we do that in a number of ways. It can be done online, some kind of online platform, or with paper voting tables if you're at school. It really depends what you want to do. With the younger ones, sometimes the paper option is easier. I mentioned Storybox Library. That has been a lifesaver during lockdown because many of the shortlisted books are available there. If you've never seen Storybox Library, I encourage you to take a look at it. It is a subscription resource. However, local libraries, many local libraries do subscribe to it. And in Victoria, I'm pretty sure it might be the same all over Australia, you can be a member of any library in Victoria and access their digital resources. So you can sign up for any library in your state and then access a resource, you know, that a library 100 kilometres away might have. So I know that some of my local libraries in my area do subscribe to Storybox Library. So anyone in Victoria, you can do a bit of searching and find a library that has it, register online with a digital membership, and then you can access Storybox Library as well, and your students can as well. So if you don't want to get a school subscription, that's how you could do it. The stories are really great, and they've just introduced an Auslan interpreter to some of their videos, which is really nice too. So I like to have some Book Week competitions focusing on books. So I've got a few examples here of past ones, and they're usually something to do with matching books and staff in some way. Generally, the students really like to see their staff, their teachers, and try and figure things out about them and learn a little bit of something interesting about their staff, their teachers. So there are some examples that I've done in the past. The matching the staff shelfie to a selfie was a fun one, where the teachers took a picture of a bookshelf or a pile of books, and then, you know, you have the teachers' pictures and you have the pictures of the bookshelves, and they have to try and figure out who belongs to who. So that kind of thing is a lot of fun, and there are a couple of examples there. For this year, for that one, you could you could link in where staff nominate a children's book that they've loved that has taken them to either an old world, a new world, or an other world, and provide a sentence or two about it. And then you display the quotes with a photo of the staff member and with the title blanked out. And then you have the photos of the books all around, and then or the actual books, and the children have to match them up. So that provides a lot of interest, and my students always enjoy those kinds of competitions. I also like to offer the older students a book trailer or book week theme movie competition, which usually is year 5 and 6. And here I've just put up some examples of the entry form, and also later on when we're back after book week, we have a book trailer film festival where we watch all of them. So you could adapt this for offsite by sharing them online as well. So for this, the students are asked to create a book trailer related to one of the shortlisted books, or a book trailer just about books and reading in general related to the theme. Again, it's been really popular with my older students.
That is about your time, Marissa. So
okay. Can I just go for half a minute more?
Please do, please.
Drop everything and read. Many of you, I'm sure, are very familiar with this, but we do it as a whole school. So you can see these girls were in the middle of PE and the bell rang. They had to read for 15 minutes, and the teachers too. So everyone stops for 15 minutes when they hear the bell. Buddy reading sessions are really great as well, to have older and younger students together reading. Mystery guest readers, so inviting members of your community to read, but not saying who it's going to be, and give a few clues about it and promote it, and then the students come along to find out. Of course, author visits. Last year during lockdown, we were back on site, but you can see here I had one of my sessions was on a virtual session. So virtual options can be more affordable. And screen-free lunchtimes with lucky lunchtime readers. You come and read, and everyone who reads gets a ticket to go into a draw for a mystery prize. Fantastic assemblies where all the prizes are awarded. And of course, the dress-up day, which I always have a lot of fun with. So sorry about taking so long, but I hope whatever you do in your schools, whether you're at home or you're back on site, I hope you have a wonderful book week celebration and just enjoy all the beautiful books on the shortlist.
Thank you so much, Marissa. I love how at the end it was just a real rapid fire of hits getting us through all of your great ideas at once. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And now we have our third speaker, who I'm also very excited about, who is Jo Panckridge from Victoria. So what we'll do is we will turn over to Jo, and she can jump into her presentation. Welcome, Jo. Oh, Jo, you're just on mute. So I'll just send you a little, there you are.
Fantastic. Well, thank you.
Great.
Thank you very much for inviting me to, and like the other speakers, our school is very big on Book Week, and fortunately we're in a position where we are at school so we can celebrate it in person, but hopefully with some of the ideas that I have to share, these can be done both in person and also online. So I'll just share my screen now too. Okay, and hopefully you can see that now. So I've got some display ideas. I also have some competitions. Some of them you will have already heard, which just goes to show that we're all on the same page. And then some resources and some activities for particular books. So here we go. First of all, I teach in the primary section, and obviously our children love going through doors, going through portals, going through entrances. So I've created a little bit like Kate's group. We're going down the line of down the rabbit holes. So I created a bit of an entrance going through into one of our spaces, and it was really incredibly easy. Just cardboard in the shape of a tree around a doorway, and then I just scrunched up bits of brown paper and stuck them onto the cardboard. And then Kmart was great for fake flowers and fake vines. So that was a really easy one, but it looked very effective, along with my marching cards, which the kids have really enjoyed. Also the dragon there, again using the Other Worlds theme, was one that I used a few years ago, and this wasn't mine. This is the inspiration that I had, but I had all the children make their little round sections of the head with the name of their favourite book on it, which we then turned into this beautiful mystical creature that lined a passageway in our library. Again, looks very impressive, but it was incredibly easy to do. The other idea of exploring other worlds and going through portals, again, I went down to our local electrical shop and collected a whole lot of boxes, particularly the big boxes that fridges come in, and we were able to create a really simple castle entrance, and then of course using just sponges to make the bricks, it became a very effective portal to go through in a previous year's book week theme. Again, this year, going through a wardrobe, the idea of Narnia and the Other Worlds. This was another one that was really easy with a fridge box, and I found subsequently that a lot of removalists also have boxes already with, you know, the hanging rod on it that someone else has used to create a wardrobe, and they're doing a bit of a Narnia theme in their classroom. This is something that could be a really nice thing to do in celebrating this year's 75th anniversary of the CBCA Book of the Year. A few years ago, I decided I was going to share with the children how long this actual Book of the Year award celebration had been going on. So I went on to, there's a website that's down the bottom there that gave me a list of all the winning picture books from 1946 up until the current day. All I did was take a note of those, and through Google Images, I downloaded a print of the book cover, and then, I don't know whether you can see, but I just got a piece of cardboard and covered the book cover over the top and put them all around the room in obviously chronological order with this year, or it was 2018. 2018 just had a blank piece of A4 paper with a big question mark on it. Now, what was really lovely about this was that children were able to come into the library, and there were lots of screams and yells when they could identify the books that they remember from the past. But what was more interesting was the number of parents that came in that were also able to identify their favourite books from years gone by. But that was a really lovely one, and I think this image, the first image, shows how I had it displayed around our foyer area in the library. We also vote every year, and I found with my younger children, I was able to just take a photocopy of a tiny version of each of the front covers, and the children, in a lovely little surprise, they had to very quietly whisper to me which was their favourite book, and they were given a little tiny image of the book cover, and we created a very visual bar graph, so the children were able to see quite quickly who was their favourite book in our setting. And it was lovely to then be able to re-look at that once the Book of the Year was announced, to see whether we were voting in the same way as the judges and the reasons why, and why we enjoyed the particular books we did. So that was a very visual way of doing our voting. Like Marissa, we have always enjoyed a series of treasure hunts. Last year for the Curious Creatures, I found 10 creatures that I bought in the $2 shop and gave them a letter and created a series of clues. So the children had to race around the playground to find the letter and put the letter in that right-hand column there. And the letters all made up the title of one of the shortlisted books. That was a really fabulous activity. If you are on site, But if you're not on site, there are lots of online treasure hunts you can create for yourself. This one was just to naming the shortlisted book, giving clues from the book so the children can go onto Storybox Library or online or in libraries and read the books, find the clues. I put the clues in just that, that pale grey to then also spell out one of the titles of one of the shortlisted books. And the children love these sort of treasure hunts in our setting. We also, again, like Marissa, love to match favourite books to the teachers. So we have a series of clues. We also have the covers of the books available, all numbered, and the children have to match the favourite book given the clue with the book title. And last year when we did this, we absolutely loved seeing the children race up to teachers on yard duty and quiz them about their books and trying to find some more clues about the books that were their favourite books when they were children. This year, given the Old Worlds, New Worlds, Other Worlds theme, I've created with the children a series of, got them here, so that you can see me as well, little polystyrene rockets, and on each rocket I have a clue that relates to one of the books, and then I'm going to give them a little form, and they have to decide what character of each of the shortlisted books the clue relates to, and that's another activity that I'm sure you'd be able to do online as well. In looking at responses to the shortlisted books, my children have always really loved hearing some of the backstories to the creators and their inspirations. You'll all remember Knock, Carolyn Magrill's gorgeous story about a bear. This started off as a funny little misshapen creature that Carolyn's daughter made as a joke for her husband and this girl's father. And it was so ugly looking that they called it Roadkill. But Roadkill sat up on Carolyn, the husband's study shelf for ages and kept looking at her. And after a while, she started drawing him and started to try and draw out a story from him. And there's a beautiful backstory there about how she came to create the character Nop. Similarly with Tilly, Jane Godwin and Anna Walker's book. Tilly was based on Jane Godwin's sister Kate, who actually lived in the attic of their house in the city. And the same thing happened in her story. The carpet was laid one day and Kate's treasures that were in the little step by her attic door had been covered. And Kate told no one until 8 years ago, when the house came on the market and Jane invited Kate to go and have a look at an open for inspection. And that's when Kate shared the story that actually there are still treasures in that little step and they were mine. Also, Stephen Michael King, when he wrote 3, 20 years earlier, he had seen a three-legged dog and he wanted to write about it. But when finally 20 years later he started writing about this dog, he realised that he was actually writing about his brother David, who had Pollard's syndrome, where he had a withered right arm and right hand. But the idea was that, like David, little 3 was full of gratitude, resilience and love for life. And this photo was something that the children really enjoyed. And this year, Busy Beaks with Sarah Allen, she was devastated by the bushfires last year and really wanted to create a book that celebrated and reminded children about the beautiful and somewhat endangered bird species that we have in Australia. So lots of backstories are really fascinating for children, and it brings them closer to the actual message that they like to think about in a book. Similarly, we love doing comparison texts to the shortlisted books, and there are thousands of companion texts to allow for text-to-text connections and also text-to-self connections. Ellie's Dragon lent itself beautifully to Puff the Magic Dragon. The children learnt the song, they sang me the song, We talked about imaginary friends. We talked about the type of people that would have an imaginary friend, and not only the lonely children, but maybe the very creative and very interested children, or interesting children. Norton and the Bear and Huey's new jumper, the Oliver Jeffers book, was almost identical. But again, it allowed the children to connect to when is it okay to copy, when is it not okay to copy, and how do we relate to that? So companion texts are fascinating discussions. Online, they could see themselves as Venn diagrams where the children discuss elements of each book, what's similar, what's different. But certainly as a discussion point, a companion text is a wonderful addition.
So that is just about your 10 minutes. Okay,
well, I've got 2 more slides to go, I think.
Fantastic.
Okay, so small group book club prompts. I've created 4 prompts for each of the shortlisted books to generate that deeper discussion rather than, yes, she felt sad. So, you know, really getting the children to think on a deeper level about books in the prompts that you offer them is a really valuable way to start a book club discussion. Lots of ideas for the individual books. I did a timeline of books. You can tell how old I am by my 14 plus. I was still doing one of those Walkmans. The children are starting to do that. Conversations between characters that you can video, Q&A, taking photos of abandoned toys or toys from the past and sending those in online would be really interesting too for other children to have a look at. Favourite outfits, we're going to have as one of our book week competitions, children sending in photos and bringing in photos of them in their favourite outfits and how they feel about wearing those outfits, when they wear them and what it says about them. And again, lots and lots of online resources that everybody else has shared already, so I won't continue that. But thank you very much. That's the lightning stop tour of my book week, and I hope there's something there that some of you might be interested in pursuing. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jo, and to Kate and Marissa as well. This has been just absolutely fantastic stuff. I love that you have packed so many ideas, all of you, into these presentations, and I'm so thrilled to share them with all of you. If you do have any questions or if you'd like to throw out some ideas, now is a really good time. We've got a few minutes left. While you are thinking about that, I just wanted to let you know about some other resources for Book Week that you might not know about. Kate mentioned the wonderful Philip Bunting book, Who Am I? And we have a fantastic teaching unit of work for the whole school, so Foundation to Year 6, that you guys can look up and reference as you teach. We also make teaching units of work for the CBCA shortlist every year, so we are releasing 2 every week. Right now, we have a lot of units up for the 2021 text, so please feel free to check those out as well. We have got a lot of comments coming in. We had some people sharing that library access is similar in New South Wales to how it was mentioned earlier. We have some thank yous for, informative sessions and wonderful ideas. Everyone's saying so many ideas. They're so inspired, very creative, very appreciated. You're getting thanked and thanked and thanked. So thank you to our amazing presenters who came on board with us from the Children's Book Council of Australia, our partners who helped us find some brilliant teacher librarians. I know that you all have amazing ideas. I know that you're going to make Book Week really special for your students, no matter your context at the moment. And I just feel really lucky to be able to bring you all together and share those ideas together. So thank you once again to Kate and Marissa and Jo. It's been fantastic having you here.
Thank you.
Loved the little wave in from Melissa. Perfect. Thank you all for coming. And Kate as well. Lovely to see you. Thank you, everyone. Those thanks are rolling in. Everyone is so ready. Talking about being a collaborative community, all of the sharing. I agree, it could have been longer. Can we do this every year? Why not? Let's do it again next year. Thank you, everyone, and have a fantastic afternoon. Bye, all.